Good evening. It's Graham Healy from Trade Canary, Australia and New Zealand. And this is normally my 7 p.m. free Zoom for new members. And what I've decided to do is just record this particular session so that people can have a look at this recording so they can get a little bit of an idea of, what we're doing and how we go about things. Now, first of all, we'll just have a look at the website here. This is the main website for Trade Canary, Australia and New Zealand. And you see here we're advertising a free holiday. And basically, if you decide to join us or join up with us, you're entitled to a free holiday if you join on the $600 deal. And what is the $600 or the $500 deal? And I'll just go to that here in the plans and pricing up front, so you know what we're all about. Now, I'll just remind everyone that when I did all these courses, and I did several of them, the education on stock market education and what have you, each one of these courses weren't 600, they were 6,000. So I've spent in the order of around about probably let's think now, 6, 12, about 18,000 to 20,000 in fees to educate myself so that I can deliver courses for you. A little bit of my background to start with. I've got a med science degree. I've got a chiropractic degree plus masters in dry needling. Also a sports coach. I used to own a health centre and what have you. And I've had several small businesses, including news agencies, mini markets, milk runs, you name it. Done a lot of things, personal training and what have you. But this year I turned 71. So I needed a business which really wasn't going to get me running around everywhere, where I could basically do it online anywhere in the world. And trading is what it's all about. But the difference between what we're doing and what everyone else is doing is that we actually have Trade Canary software, which is a interface for the New York Stock Exchange that it filters about 11,800 companies and billions of data points into executive summaries. Now, I'll go through that a little bit. I don't want to confuse you. I've done all that education to be able to understand how to use the software. From you as one of our members, you don't have to worry about that. You just get the trades delivered to you. So this is the prices on the website, and you see the free holiday deal is in the $600 price. So all the $500 without the free holiday deal. Now, that free holiday is to 100 locations throughout the world. It's three nights and 4 days. And normally they'd be priced at about $1,000 to get these sort of deals with, the holiday venues and what have you. So you can always go onto my website and have a look at that. Bear in mind that normally my education system is around about $1,500. So these two deals here are, a pretty good deal, really, especially when I paid $6,000 to do the basic courses. And what I'm offering you, I'll tell you now, it's far superior to all the courses I did. You can also do those courses if you want to, and if you've got the money available to do them, go right ahead. Now, I suppose what really happens behind the scenes. Okay, number one, I'm on the sort of like what you call the board of Trade Canary in the USA, where it's a specific software that filters 11,800 companies and billions of data points into executive summaries. And that helps me to produce trades for you. Now, from your perspective, you can start a small business. I've got nothing to do with any financial transactions. Basically, all we're doing is providing education officially, right? So what happens is the process is simply like this. Number one, you set up, and we help you to set up it's basically a bank account with a registered stockbroker. Now, the registered stockbroker we use is all ASIC approved and what have you. I won't say who they are on this video, but we'll tell you that if you contact us, and we will connect you with the particular stockbrokers. stockbroking firm. And basically that's your bank account. So you've got a secure bank account where you can put money in for trades, you can do the trading, you can take money out, put it back into your savings, et cetera, et cetera. So you can start with, maybe $1,000 in your account or something similar to that. Most of my clients, usually, they're small players. They're not the big multinational corporation type players. They're mums and dads, semi-retired. I'm semi-retired. So these are sort of people that are attracted to what I'm doing. So well, you can be the big player if you wish, because we can cover that as well. But I will go through how the software works in a little while. Now, I'm just checking to see I've got no one else online. No, I haven't. So, okay, number one, I have a system that I've procured over the last 3.5 years with the aid of Trade Canary software. Now, I'll show you the software. Now, it can be a bit confusing, but you don't have to worry about that because you just get the trades. Now, as an example, I'll give you an example of the trade. So what happens, this is how it works. I produce the trades off the software. I take 4 screenshots. One is of the particular trade, and there's a bit more detail I'll go into later. 2, it is a trade of the chart. It is a screenshot of the chart. Number 3, it is a screenshot of the projections. Number 4, it is a screenshot of Yahoo Finance, where we see a clean 1 year or 5 year chart. So you can see a line drawn that. You can see, for instance, where the 52-week price history is. So that's as simple as it is. I'll explain that a little bit more in a second. So you get these trades on an app. I use the Wix's Spaces app. Once you're a member, you can download that app onto your mobile phone, and wherever you go, you can see the trades will appear. Normally, I do about 2 trades a day, and that's about 10 a week. It could be less than that. But the bottom line is each one of these trades, you can earn, depending on the trade, but normally the normal run-of-the-mill trade, which I'm talking about options trading, is around about, the premium is around about 250 US, and the return is around about 1,000 Australian. So, when the trade, what I call hits the rocket, in other words, it goes past the target, you will get the estimated amount basically in your account from your own trading. So all I'm doing is giving you the trades. You are registering the trades in your own account, and whatever you earn out of that goes into your own account. My fee is just simply for the education side of it. So it's a once-only fee. You've got lifetime access to the back end of the Trade Canary Australia and New Zealand website, and that's as simple as it is. But if you want to go down the road of doing all the study I've done to understand all the charts and all this, and you want to do that, that's up to you. Most people don't want to do that. They haven't got the time, nor do they have the energy. And believe you me, I've had a lot of headaches doing all this in the process, including building the websites and everything. However, that option is always available to you if you want to even subscribe to the Trade Canary software. Of course, that's about 4.5 grand, and then your renewal each year is another 1,000. So you're looking at 5,500, 4.5 grand initially, and then 1,000. I think it's about 1,300 Australian, about 1,000 US. So there's all these fees in the background which you don't have to worry about as a member for me. I'm the one paying for it in the background. So, which is a pretty good deal, really, all considered. So I'll just go to groups, and this is what you get in your on your app. And this can be on your computer at home. You've got access to all this. So as an example, I'll just bring up one. Let's have a look at one trade. There's a lot of things that I do. Plus, every Thursday at 7 o'clock, we have a a members Zoom where I'll go over trades with members, answer any questions, all this sort of thing. So let's have a look at, this is a simple trade. This is a fairly economic trade, but it's called TSCO, which is, it's basically the equivalent of Bunnings in the US. And I'll just remind everyone, this is the US stock market, so it's not the Australian stock market. So this is what you get. It's like, okay, here's a trade. It's a call 35 on the 19th of September 26. That's an expiry date. We'll post some cheaper contracts. I've said to members, they've asked me for cheaper contracts, and I'm doing that. Gives a little description about the company. Sometimes I'll put this in. Sometimes it's a company that everyone knows, like Meta or Adobe or something, so I don't have to put the description in. But in this case, I put the description in. And then this is actually how much it costs. Where are we here? Right. These figures here where it says 1.72 US dollars, and the ratio is 1.85 to 1. So what that means is the cost of the contract is 172 US dollars. And the reason why they write it in decimals like 1.72 is each options trade controls 100 shares. So the underlying security is 100 shares, and that's why it's always divided by 100. So when you get used to that terminology, you'll be right. And the equivalent is 244 Australian. So to purchase this contract, the options contract, is 172 US or 1.72 or 2.44 Australian, and the ratio is 1.85 is to 1. In other words, the ratio that's been worked out by the computer system, the Trade Canary computer system, says that the return on investment is almost 2 to 1, make it simple, or 1.85 to 1. And then I do some projections for you. This is the ratio of 2 to 1. You invest 172 US, the ratio is 300 return or 425. 2 to 1 is 324 or 459 Australian. 3 to 1 is 486 or 689 Australian. Or 4 to 1 is 648 US or 910 Australian. Now, the reason why I put these different ratios down, the computer system works out the very lowest ratio. But if this trade goes beyond the target, which is 35, and I'll show you that in a second, it will start to exponentially increase in value. All right, we'll go into that in a little while. The first screenshot you get is this is what our computer system Trade Canary generates. So when we see a buyer score of 74.3 out of 100, what that means, without getting technical, that means money is being poured into this particular level of options contract, and on the computer system reads all this in the background, sifting all the data, and comes up with different score ratings. And when it's up here around 74.57 out, 70% out of 100, 65% out of 100, 80% out of 100, that means it is a very high probability trade. Now you can see here that the target is 35, and this can vary a bit, but this is the cost in US dollars. That is the expiry date, the 18th of September. The Yanks write everything backwards. Now I think, they must have partial Chinese there over in the Yanks, perhaps. Not saying that in a racial sort of sense. My former wife was, before she passed away, was from Hong Kong, so I can speak a bit of Cantonese. So the 18th of September 2026, and the computer has estimated that investing about 190 US will return almost, it's 357 American is the return back on investment. Now I'll go into that in more detail. Don't worry about all these other figures. It just confuse the issue, but that's the main points there. And it expires in 128 days. So you divide that by 3, that's just over 4 months. So this trade must reach 35 by 4 months, and it can do that any time over the 4 months, and then you can sell it and take the profits, basically. Right, now the next chart that you see is one of what I call Trade View, and that is it's a charting program that I've got loaded onto my computer system, and I recommend Trade View for all members. I think it costs me around about 40 Australian a month to subscribe to that. And you can load any trade on and watch the charts, and there's a whole lot of good stuff on Trade View that just helps you out. But in the meantime, I physically take a screenshot of the analysis I've done. So I won't go into too much detail. This is a price history of the Tractor Supply Company, and I have these indicators written in here, which again, I don't want to make it complicated, but that's a support line. These are what they call VWAP, or volume average price, and these are indicators that I log on or actually attach to the price history to give me a target point. So I do it through the software, but I also do it through the actual price graphing, and that, okay? So no need to get too complicated. Also, I retype the pricing and the ratios on this particular chart in here. So you've got it in two charts. And then the third chart that I put there is the projections chart. Now, this is usually on Trade View, and I've taken a screenshot and I've put in where our target is. Now, you notice this says based on 33 analysis giving stock ratings in the past 3 months. This means all the top stockbrokers basically analyze all these trades all the time. They're doing this professionally, and they work out what the signals are on this particular company and this particular trade. In this case, they're indicating a strong buy signal, and this is the range that this trade has normally gone through, usually about a 12-month period, or in this case it says 2 years. So when I'm working out what target we've got, one, I'll look at the software, the Trade Canary software, and two, I'll always work out a target that is very close to where it is currently. So currently, the tractor company is sitting at a share price of $31.25, and I've said, okay, we can do a target of 35. So what do you think the probability of going from 31.25 to 35 is? Very high probability, I'm telling you now. If you were going up here somewhere to 50, you'd want to have a longer contract to reach those sort of goals. So by keeping the targets low, we increase the probability exponentially, actually. So the next chart, and remember you get 4 charts. Next chart is just straight off Yahoo Finance. Now that's a freely available chart for anyone. There's no subscription fee, although you can subscribe to Yahoo. But I find Yahoo's extremely good for just a clean chart. So here I've done the price history of the Tractor Supply Company, its ticker, or what you've got to type in to bring it up on any of the like Trade View and these sort of programs, or even Trade Canary. You've got to type that in for Trade Canary to see it. You can see here that the top, what I call the highest price in the 52 weeks, which is 1 year, is up here somewhere. When you draw that across, that's roughly 63 or 64, close to 65. 65 is a bit above that. But if you were to draw a straight line across, this particular company has reached up to about 63 in 12 months. So its price history is around about what you call a 52-week high of about 62, 63 US dollars. Now, currently, it's sitting right down here at 31.25. Our target is only 35. So you can see it doesn't have to move much for us to hit the target. And that's how we work most of our trades with Trade Canary. So that increases the probabilities of you getting there a lot quicker. So that's the fourth chart you get. And all you do is just simply look at these charts on your mobile phone and or your laptop. So that's a good trade. That's affordable. I will then put that into my trade workstation. Now, the trade workstation, and I will show you the trade workstation. I've just got to close this one down, I think. Yep, I'll close that one down. Bring this one up. So don't worry about me talking to myself here. Just helps me get the... Now, the trade workstation, when you sign up with our broker in Sydney, our registered broker, they're the agents for Interactive Brokers. Now, Interactive Brokers is the global interface for the New York Stock Exchange. So to sign up for with our broker, and the only reason I don't mention the name on the video is that they have particularly asked me not to mention the name publicly because they're all registered with ATSIC. So it's, when you talk to me privately, no problem at all. You know what company I'm dealing with. It's you know, they're all registered, but I've got to be a little bit, let's say, I've got to be careful broadcasting their name on a separate platform. That's, if you can understand that. It's like I'm basically being an agent for them, but I am not their company. And from your perspective, you're actually getting access, the platform access to a registered stockbroking company, which keeps your money safe. And actually, here's another bonus. To do a tax return or something like that takes you about 2 minutes. You just type it into the platform, boom, it'll download all the data and it makes it easy. I did that. I've actually got my tax returns in this week, actually. So when I open this up, you'll see this is a trade workstation. Again, I don't want to get you confused, but this is the platform that interfaces the New York Stock Exchange. Now, you can see on this is all the trades that I've got running at the moment. There's about 20 of them there. Most people might have 3 or 4 or 5, because I'm sort of the leader of the team. I'm doing a lot more trades, but I'll just focus on a couple of things that you may understand. So the net liquidity in my account. So my account increases, decreases. I take money out, I put money in. But normally what I do these days, anyhow, I make money out of the trades. I take, like for instance, just recently, I made about $4.5 grand in a week. I took out 1,500 into my savings, and then I reinvested about 1,000, or about, what was that, 4.5? I said 1,500 down to about 3 or 2, 3. So I put another half that into trades, reinvest in new trades. And the other thing that I'm doing now is buying shares with the other money. So in other words, I'm making money to reinvest so that you grow your wealth, right? So just to give an example, here you see green on the screen. Now, the green on the screen is a trade like PayPal. For instance, this one is expires on the 18th of September, and it's a call of 45, means a target of 45. It's sitting at 32.3%. Now, when that gets up to 100% or even 80%, around about there, what I paid for that was 230 US. That'll be worth about double. So at that stage, once these percentages get up around about the 80% mark, these figures here, when you have a look at what the market value is or the sale price, and again, I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I'll show you all this on the education side of it. This will be worth double of what we paid for. So we're doubling our money. You'll never do that in a bank, I'll tell you now. Now, this one here is Pepsi, the well-known, Pepsi Cola company. It's a massive company. It's worth, I think it's around about 117 billion from memory. That's starting to go into the green as well. And with this one here, I paid 345 US. Its current market value is about 524. If I was to sell that, I'd only sell it when it's above 50%. Again, I'm always looking for a 2-to-1 ratio. Now, sometimes if this is really booming, these ratios can go 3 to 4-to-1. I've seen trades go 22-to-1. And I didn't believe it myself until the CEO of Trade Canary in the US said, have a look at this trade, Graham. I had a look, oh God, I actually had that trade, and then we traded out of it, and then boom, they had a merger and acquisition, and it went 22x, went through the roof. So these things happen. Now, when you see trades, and I won't go into all of these, but you see these trades that have got minus 4.8%, there's minus 11%, they're very near to turning the corner to going green on the screen. Now, so I won't go into any more detail there, but this is where you buy and sell your trades. Here is your options chain. So if I, for instance, you look at ExxonMobil at the moment, so I've got a trade with one of the biggest oil companies in the world at the moment, because all the kerfuffling going on over in Iran. Oil prices have been fluctuating, and we've been making a bit of money out of that. So, with options trading, if money goes up and down, doesn't worry us. We're actually making money out of the ups and downs in the market. That's how it works. So you see here, ExxonMobil is a call of 160 on the 21st of August. So I go here. This is showing you the options chain, 21st of August, regular. The price I had a look at there with ExxonMobil's 160. So at the moment it's worth 174 because the price of oil's dropped down a bit. Now, when that's worth, you see it's 520, I paid 520 US. It's dropped to about half of that. That's okay. I've got till the 21st of August. That trade's going to go up and down before then. And I'll show you that in a second. And when it gets up to about 1,000 US, so it's 520, it goes 2-to-1, which is about 1,000 US, and I'll sell it. Simple as that. Now, how many, what's the percentage wins to losses, basically? Normally, it's about an 80% win rate, and there's about a 20%. So 20% of the trades zero, what you call zero out. The time just runs out on them. And, if we got 100% every single time, well, it would be in the business of printing money rather than doing trading. So when you're getting around about 80% hit rate, because of the software we've got in the background, we're doing pretty well. Okay, so that makes it, hopefully that makes it a little bit clear. So basically, this is the interface for the stock market. At 11:30 tonight, all this will start lighting up, and all these figures will start moving everywhere, just as if I was really in the stock market in New York. Same thing on the screens at New York. We've got a duplicate copy of that. Okay, so we'll just go down there. Now, I'll go through what is Trade Canary. Now, this is the master software in the background that gives you an idea of where we're all coming from. Now, there's a lot of stuff here. I do not want to confuse you. So we'll just go through a couple simple trades, and I'll keep it back at that, the tractor company. And I just keep reminding myself of the tractor company. But initially, we will look at the S&P 500, which is basically it's a ETF, which holds about 500 of the world's top companies, and that's where all the stockbrokers set what they call the range on the S&P 500. This is it here on TradeView. Excuse my hieroglyphics, right? So that's the S&P 500, and basically there's 500 companies sitting in there, and this tracks. This is the master record of basically 500 of the biggest companies in the stock market in a electronic trading fund. Now, as you can see here, this is based on various index weights. I won't go into that, but you look at it, it's got NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, which is Google, basically, Broadcom, another Google, Alphabet Incorporated. You've got Meta, which of course is the old Facebook, Tesla, Berkshire Hathaway, etc. So they're the top 10. There's plenty more of them. There's 500 of them, but these are the big ones. the ones that are worth, for instance, I think, let me see, Meta's worth, I think, 1.7 trillion. Have to double check that. The numbers become so big. Here's another thing. When we're trading companies, we do not trade any company under $1 billion. They're all got a market cap of billion plus, normally about 5 billion. So that means they're secure companies. That means that they've been trading for a while. And we can look at their price history over 5 years, sometimes even 10 years. And all price history has a pattern to it. And so, we can read their finances and all that, and we can show you that in due course. While I'm here, we'll just go, this is in the background. You don't have to do this. You can, but I'm doing it in the background. I'm actually looking at all the different screening processes of, the ETFs. So this is the micro mini S&P 500. This really reads, this goes 24/7. I think they have a bit of a rest on Sunday, but 24/7. And this preamps and reads these, the big one, the SPY. This is the mini one. So I can look at this, and if this is, forging forward, it means the SPY will forge forward as well. Then you've got the VIX. And as you see here, the VIX is the human fear factor. So you see at the moment, the VIX is sitting at 16. It works inversely to all the rest, and it's what I call is the flight instruments. So, you just imagine, I was in the airlines for 10 years as well. I didn't know whether I told you that at the beginning, but you look at your flight instruments, and they're the instruments that help you navigate the aircraft. And so that's exactly what we're doing with Trade Canary. We're using instruments to navigate through basically the stock market. So the VIX, when it's low like this, that means people have got confidence, and when it goes high, when it gets up above 25, it's what they call the fear calculator. And they've got, they've got a dial method that you can look at the fear factor and all this. QQQ, again, this is another ETF which covers, basically the tech stocks, NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta platforms, Google again, Walmart, Tesla, Broadcom, and Adobe. Adobe's not one of in the top 10, but it is been in this particular ETF for many, many years. It's a solid company. Then, of course, you've got Meta there. I always put Meta beside QQQ. Goldman Sachs. I use Goldman Sachs as the indicator for the rest of the banking sector, because wherever Goldman Sachs goes, the rest of the banking sector follows. So it's like a big ship, and it's going up in the tide. You'll find it'll pull all the other financial sectors up in the tide. So this is stuff you don't have to know about. I'm just showing you what I do to filter trades so that you've got the trades in your hand without having to worry about this. And when we go through the Thursday night sessions, live Zoom sessions, I'll discuss some of this stuff. So you, as almost a team member, you can also be a trainee, so you can start step by step, understand how I analyze all these trades to produce those screenshots that you've got on your mobile app. And what I find is layer by layer, you start to get a clear understanding of how this all works. And there's no other business like it as far as I can see. I mean, with the S&P 500, when that was it dropped, around about the tariff time when President Trump brought in the tariffs. I mean, I made 10 grand in 15 minutes in that particular exercise. I put 4.5, about four in, I think it was. Then I got 10.5 out of it. So that was in 15 minutes. So there is possible to make that sort of money in some trades, but normally we're doing just the run-of-the-mill trade where you're putting in about 250 to 300 for a premium and getting back 700, about 700 US, which is 1,000 Australian. So that's the other one I look at is Bitcoin. I haven't brought that up on the screen. I'll bring it up so that you can see. So I'm monitoring Bitcoin all the time. And the reason why I'm doing that is not because I'm buying Bitcoin, it's too expensive, but we'll bring it up in US dollars. Here we go. The reason is that the trade I associate with Bitcoin is always MicroStrategy, which is a proxy for Bitcoin, because MicroStrategy owns, apart from BlackRock, it owns the most amount of Bitcoin in the world. So if Bitcoin, like for instance, Bitcoin is not surging tonight, you can see it's in a negative, but Bitcoin goes up and down every day. Last night it was up about 2,000 points. So accordingly, when you bring up, and I'll bring this up here, we'll bring up MicroStrategy, because I'm using TradeView doing this, Micro, M-R-S-T. Oh, M-S-T-R, I'm sorry, I got the wrong ticker there. So when I bring up, and just excuse all my hieroglyphics here, when I bring up MicroStrategy, and I've got a trade on this, I think, did I? Yep, I activated that one. So MicroStrategy is starting to surge back up, and I've got a trade of a call of 170 to the 26th of June, which is the end of this month. And hopefully this trade will continue on to get up to 270, and I'll probably make about $1,000 out of that one. Okay, so I won't bother explaining all these indicators here. That's a little bit too complicated for this conversation. So getting back to Trade Canary, where we are here, I'll remove this and this. This is the S&P 500. Remember when I said, you know, with Trade Canary, we're really in the matrix. We're not in what I call the hype of the fake news and all the carry on that you see people panicking over this and that. We're reading the data. So we're behind the scenes reading the data. So what we see and what everyone else sees is two different visions. We know basically what's happening before it's happening. We've got very strong indicators to show this. And as I said to you before, like for instance, this is called market breadth. And there's the S&P 500. And you can see that where it dropped on the 3rd, the Yanks write everything backwards. So it's the 20th of March, 2026. It dropped into a buy signal. This was an indicator that we use in the background to read the data. This is the one where I made that 10 grand, 10.5 grand on the buy signal from here. And we knew that this was going to, and this is reliable, back tested 10 years. So, you know, as I say, we're reading data that no one else is reading. So let's get back, and I'll just finish off with this because I don't want to get too complicated. I'll go and search for, what was it, TSCO, which was that tractor company like Bunnings in the US, right? So the tractor supply company, I type that into Trade Canary, and it filters all those companies on the stock market. I then can see, okay, this company is consumer cyclical. In other words, people will, like, you go down to Bunnings, if you've got cash, you'll go down there and start doing your rebuilding your, you know, your patio or something, a bit like I do. Our software reads it very carefully. And this is the technicals, which is the charts. I won't go into the explanation, but, you know, this will indicate to us straight away what's going on. And fundamentals basically mean the financial situation of the company. Now, this one's a 6 out of 10, which is still okay. Some of them, like Meta, is 10 out of 10. They're just, you know, they're just like Fort Knox. So then when I go down further, I look at, and again, I will not explain everything. This is basically how we analyze stuff. The main thing we're looking at is compression ratios here. So this is a quick view. This tractor company, or what's it called again? TSCO. These indicators here, compare it with all the other companies in this industry. And these, when it's green on the screen like that, that means it's compressed right down. That means there's one way to go when you're compressed, and that's decompression, which is up. Just think of a diver. I had my diving certificates. So when you're decompressing, you're going up, decompressing, going up, decompressing, going up. So these decompression factors. So when they're compressed, they go back up to be decompressed, right? Now we have a look here. This is a 52-week history. You see it's right down here at 29. The top end was 60. So it's got plenty of room to growth. Range trader, that's trading in the channel. I won't go into detail there. This is an important part where we're looking at. Now, this purple line is actually where TSCO, the tractor company's price history. You see it? And this is over, I think it's over a 5-year period. And you can see these buy signals here. Where we are here is it's got buy stamped everywhere. So in other words, it's at a very low point compared to all the other companies in its category. And so that's why I posted this trade. The software is telling us it is in a buy signal. And this here translates what we call is relative strength indexes, which is the strength of that company compared to its peer group. Anyway, I'm not going to go into too much detail. Now, this side here, this is actually the, we do go into shares. We can go into that. I just focus on calls or call contracts, but there is a whole section of Trade Canary which is into the buying and selling of shares, covered calls, cash, secured puts, all that complicated stuff. You don't have to worry about too much about that because we actually we do all the analysis for you. Basically, I'm just showing you what the story is now. This is again tied in with all the share components, so you don't have to worry about that. But it looks like that the CEO of Trade Canary is he's a brilliant mind. Eric Huberman, looks like he's been redesigning that since I've last looked at it. So the thing about Trade Canary, I've been part of helping Eric to redesign various parts of this software from a practical point of view. He's the computer whiz kid or the computer analyst, and he's also an accountant as well. If we see something we need to improve, the actual software gets improved and updated. Since I've been using Trade Canary almost going on for 2 years now, I've seen from when I started to now, it's like gone out of the box. And I would say, without a shadow of a doubt, Trade Canary is the best stock market software I've ever seen. And I've certainly seen a fair bit of it. So also, as I flick through this, and I can take about 2 or 3 minutes to have a look, overview a company. This is, when it's all in the blue like that, means they're making money, right? So that's operating expenses. We don't have to go into too much detail. The computer does it for us. How much cash, free cash flow. They've been spending a bit of money here, but that's nothing to worry about. Capital expenditure. Down further, this is like your CEOs, if they're insider buying, our system will pick that up because they've got to legally register stuff. And down here is the computer system picks up the financial analysis on the company. So it'll screen all the headlines worldwide, and then it'll summarize it down into headlines. So you won't worry about that too much. So now, how did I find that original trade? Well, this actually came up. Where are we? Trading view chart, industry peers, long call, watch list. Yeah, just one moment. Eric's changed the. Has he done the trading view chart? He's changed the software around a little bit. No, we don't want to look at the chart. Industry peers, earnings reports, watch list, long call. This is what he's done. He's changed. My apologies. He's, we're always improving the software, so he's changed. This is the thing with Trade Canary. That's why we're ahead of the game all the time. And like we're doing a webinar tomorrow, and here we go. So I usually focus on buying calls, which is the contracts for call contracts. But in our software, we can also do puts, which is in the opposite direction. We can do put sellers, which is what they call cash secured puts. For those that understand that, I won't go further than that, or call sellers, which are covered calls. So in other words, this section of it is like what Eric calls portfolio management. This is shares. So again, I'm not going to go into this because it'll just sound very complicated, but we have a filtering system to determine how and when to buy and sell shares. And when you own shares, I'll just quickly explain this. If you own shares, say you own 100 shares, you have the right to sell those shares and you become a call seller. And you can actually write contracts against the shares and liquefy them. And if they don't sell, you get the premium from that call into your account. So you can actually farm your own shares and make money out of them, apart from just having them make money if the company, increases in value. So that's that section. This section here is buying and selling calls or puts, but mainly I focus on calls like we did here. Remember, we had a look at this originally, and now it's down to 31. The computer system, I've got it at 35 originally. It's now looked at 31. So again, I won't go into this great detail there, but that gives you an overview of how I'm using the software. So just finish off. I hope that hasn't confused everyone, but I'm doing all the hard work for you. So when you sign up with, Trade Canary Australia, New Zealand, basically you're getting access to all this information at a discount price that no one's doing, right? $600 and get a free holiday, and you get access to this information, me doing the analysis. I mean, that's a steal. I've had people who've been trading for years contact me. They still haven't been able to fathom how to do stuff properly. So they've just said, okay, you're doing everything cost effective. We'd rather you do the trades, and that's what I'm doing. So again, where are we? I'll just go back to my website here. There it is there. Here's the plans. They are there, plans and pricing. There's also Afterpay available. So, I've got the free holiday in there. That's $600. And you can do Afterpay to break it down to 4 payments if you want to, or the basic one without the holidays, $500. And they're valid till, I think we've got this special until the 20. I hope to change that. That's 20, is it 29th? Oh, no, that's right. It's January, February, March, April, May, June. It's actually the 29th of July. This one, I have to change that. So you purchase any one of these. There's a holiday you'll get, and you'll get a code where you can book the holiday on a special website, and it's valid for 18 months, that booking. Or if you just want to pay for the what I've just shown you, access to that, including the back end of the website and all the trades that I post and the Zoom on Thursday nights. Just sign up for that one. It's a pretty good investment, and you can be away and racing with your own trading account within about 2 days. Okay, that's Graham Healy over and out. And any other further questions, just go on the website and contact me. Or on every Wednesday, I'm doing these Zoom sessions, but I thought I'd just run through this state origin tonight, so I didn't think I'd get many people on tonight. So I thought I'd just run through this and just do a video so that I can post this video so people can understand what I'm doing regarding Trade Canary. Okay, that's Graham Healy over and out, and we just go back to the base of the website there. And hopefully I've explained to you how I'm operating behind the scenes. Now, from a disclaimer point of view, we're just providing education. We're not giving you financial advice. The education system examines the stock market like I've showed you in this video. And I'll tell you now, there is nothing like this available. Or when I look at the stuff out there, it's just so damn confusing. And I'm, because I've got a med science degree, I'm analytical by nature. So when I signed up with Trade Canary myself, it was a dream come true. I've been making money out of, analysing the trades on Trade Canary ever since. And I just duplicate that to you, our members, and we've got about 20 members so far. And if you want to join to be one of our members, it's a pretty simple procedure. So that's Graham Healy over and out, and have a great night, and thank you very much for listening.